Je, wewe ni mmiliki wa aina ya gari aina ya Alto, Probox, Harrier, V8 na Lexus? Jipatie brake pads kwa bei nafuu hivi sasa. Vilevile oil filters kwa gari aina ya Toyota na vilevile Subaru. Ili upokee popote ulipo, piga simu kupitia nambari 0739318606.
Now, good morning to you, our viewer, and of course, welcome to Ndizi TV Africa this morning on the second day of the month of December, the very last month of 2025. And we are hoping that, of course, this month is going to be the best because it is the last of the year. And now, welcome to our show today, the Morning Buzz. My name is Chemutai Kiri, and I am sitting in for Jacinta Nyabeta. And now, in our first segment of the show, we are going to review the newspaper. We are doing the morning newspaper review, and of course we are going to begin with the Standard newspaper. But before we go into that, I want us to just know that a lot of things have been happening in Kenya lately, in the political lines and of course in the international lines. And in the Standard newspaper this morning, in the balls, it is that hit by Russia's war. Now, on the other text is a deadly trap. In Ruaka, a family is shattered after their father, a matatu driver, was duped into traveling to Russia for a job only to be forced into military service and killed on the front line in Ukraine. The grief exposes a far wider crisis, that Africans are being swept into a covert Russian recruitment pipeline that preys on poverty and desperation. Security officials and global analysts say that Moscow is targeting vulnerable populations to plug its troop shortages while shielding Russians from the true cost of war. Governments are being urged to urgently protect citizens from its deadly dragnet. This is in page 4 and page 5 of the Standard newspaper. And of course, you know that the Kenyan Parliament, of course, have also brought this to the floor of the House, though not yet fully discussed, but it was mentioned by Nandi County Senator Samson Cherargei and other senators, and they were discussing that, you know, a lot of Kenyans, of course, are signing contracts to go to abroad, to go work in foreign nations, but now the Kenyans who were duped are complaining that the contracts were written in a language that they could not understand, so they would not know what is in the contract, but just because they needed a job and they were being briefed verbally that the job is a good thing and, you know, it's going to help them and, you know, make them, you know, invest at home, and it's a safe place to work in. But then when they go there, they just realized that the jobs that they were getting into is fighting for the Russian military. And now it is appearing that, of course, the Moscow government is targeting vulnerable populations to plug its troop shortages while shielding Russians from the true cost of war. Now that means that it's not only one nation, not only Russia that is into this, but it's many nations who are just, you know, recruiting people to go fight for one nation. And, you know, this is a deadly war because it has been happening for many years now. It has been happening for a quite long time right now. And we are just hoping that, of course, the Kenyan government is going to act. And below that one is a text, a message that was left by the father, the Kenyan father, Martin Macharia, to his son. He told his son that always make peace among you and never create enemies. Do not bother your mom. Take care of her and be a good big brother to your younger siblings. You are the one I'm leaving here as I go. And of course, he just went and, you know, now he is not coming back. And that is what Martin Macharia told his son James Mutonga before leaving for Russia, not knowing that whatever he was going to do in Russia is to fight for the Russian military and not a safe job that he was promised. And of course, this is something that Senator Cherargei said in the floor of the Senate, that the Kenyans are of course aware of what they are going into, and they should not be so ignorant to be signing contracts that they do not understand and they do not know anything about. But we just hope that the Kenyan government is going to act swiftly on that and make sure that Kenyans going abroad are going through the best agencies they can find, and of course are going to do the most safest jobs that they can find outside there, and of course they are going to be well protected by the governments that are taking them. And in another newspaper, moving on to the Daily Nation newspaper, in the balls, it is education. It's about education. State faulted for failing to increase funding to match inflation. When public schools leave the poor behind, and in the picture that we can see, it's a stranded school girl who is just, stressed and anxious about what is just happening. And on the report, it's damning. A new report has exposed inequalities in Kenya's education system, where a majority of learners in public schools lag behind those in private institutions due to inadequate funding, teacher shortages, and congestion. The Oxfam study also revealed how children from poor families are disadvantaged, reducing their chances at a better life. This is on page 4. And it is about the education sector of the government, whereby there have been a lot of complaints, especially when it comes to the JSS and the CBE system that has been introduced in the Kenyan education system, whereby of course there have been complaints by the Teacher Service Commission, the KUPPET and NAT, that there are inadequate teachers to cover all the students and to cover all the normally there is a ratio for the teachers and for the students, but when we go to the ground and look at what is happening in Kenyan public schools, leave alone private schools, of course private schools are going to make sure that their learners are well equipped, they are adequate teachers. But now when it comes to Kenyan public schools, there have been a lot of complaints by the teachers that the learners are too many but the teachers are too less. And of course there are teachers, especially in the science sector, who are not, they are not so much equipped to manage or to tackle, to teach the CBE students. And of course they have been pleading to the government to act and to make sure that it covers everything for the students, and to ensure that the students get the learning that they should be getting. And now coming to the numbers, 1.3 million, approximately 1.3 million children of primary school going age are out of school, and nearly half of secondary school going students are not accessing secondary education at the appropriate age. 1.13 million Kenya students, children of primary schools, this is a very large population. 1.13 million is a very huge number for children not to go to school. And we are now worried about their future, because if they are not going to school right now, then it means they might not get education for the rest of their life, or maybe they might get education at a later stage of their life when many other things are supposed to be happening, and there won't be that concentration. But 1.13 million children in a government that is offering free education. But the free education, of course, as we have seen and as we have heard, is not really what is expected of the government. And this is something that of course the government should act on. 5 children from the poorest families on average get almost 5 fewer years of schooling than those from richer families. This is about exposure, and of course this is about how near is the school to their homes, and how safe are the children when they are in their classrooms, and what kind of attention are they getting from their teachers. This is something of course that many parents are looking into, and they just they feel like, no, let me just wait for next year. And in other numbers, 11.2 years. Pastoralists in Asas have, or the arid and semi-arid areas have some of the highest levels of out-of-school children. Children in Nairobi have average of 11.2 years of schooling. In Turkana, they have 5.2 years. You know, as a school-going child, of course, between the age of 3 and to whichever age they go to school to the complete high school, that should take, of course, about 11 years. But that is now in Nairobi, an average of 11.2 years is where a student gets to go to school. But in Turkana, it's 5.4 years. That means they have only seen 5 classrooms. And you know, this is an arid area. This is a pastoralist area whereby there are seasons where you can go to school safely, but there are seasons of dry seasons. There are seasons of floods, and that is when, you know, school going periods might reduce, or they might not even go to school completely during that period, especially during the floods. Let us compromise. They can go to school during the dry periods, but during the flooding periods they cannot go to school, or maybe some can go to school and some cannot go to school. And now when it comes to funding, a report from the Auditor General shows that between 2020 and 2024, public schools faced a funding gap in capitation to the tune of Kenya shillings 17 billion, with special needs secondary schools facing a 50% shortfall. This is a huge number, 17 billion in only 4 years for Kenyan schools, Kenyan public schools. This is a very huge number, and of course this is what is handicapping the education sector in Kenya. And free primary education capitation per learner has stagnated at Kenya shillings 1,420 since 2003. Especially in a generation whereby there are a lot of school-going children. You know, the children keep increasing every year when it comes to school-going children. But since 2003, the capitation fund per learner is still at Kenya shillings 1,420. That is too low compared to, you know, the needs that are in the school. You know, the paying of Kenyan teachers, examination fee. There is a feeding program and many activity fee and many other things, tuition fee. And in other report, when adjusted for inflation, it is equivalent to about Kenya shillings 250 in 2024. Only in 2024 alone, the inflation rate, or the inflation, that inflation is equivalent to about Kenya shillings 250. And secondary school capitation per learner has remained unchanged since 2018 at Kenya shillings 22,244. You know, this is something, of course, that, you know, a secondary school is where many people get to drop out of school because the school fees gets to increase, and, you know, especially during the Form 1. There is high rates of school fees, and if the government is only giving 22,244 per year to each student, then it means that the parent has to pay for about 70,000 Kenya shillings per year for their students. And you know, that is still a very huge number for some of the Kenyan households. And as a secondary school age child from the poorest quintile has a 7 in 10 chance of not being in school, while this is only 3 in 10 for a child from the richest quintile. Now, this means that in every 10 children, 7 of them are from the poorest. In every 10 children from the poor community, only 7 of them are not going to get to school, and 3 of them are going to get to school. You know, in every 10 children, 7 will not go to school, only 3 will go to school. This is something that it endangers the younger generation of the country, and you know, they should be getting enough education and quality education, at least for the future, for their own future and for the future of the country. Now coming to political side of the Daily Nation newspaper, we see in page 6 that President William Ruto has issued a stern warning against the proliferation of political thugs across the country, declaring that the government will take firm action against those who mobilize youth to unleash violence and disrupt public gatherings. The president directed Inspector General of Police Douglas Kanja to move decisively against individuals who hire the youth, saying that he will not allow lawlessness to take root. Ruto has sworn that he is going to deal with goons, and of course he is also going to deal equally with politicians who have been seen or had or connected to mobilizing and hiring the youth to act as goons, especially during this especially happened during the by-election campaigns, and of course after the by-election voting processes, whereby former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua was the two rival groups came into rivalry at the Kibra at a church in Nairobi County. And of course, let us still see this one. Gachagua rattles his opposition allies with Nairobi zoning plan. A fresh storm has hit the united opposition after former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua unveiled a zoning plan that would bar affiliate parties from fielding candidates for governor, MP and MCA positions in Nairobi County. That is in page 7 and is still on the matters politics that former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has disturbed the opposition zoning plan by giving out a plan that is going to unveiling a plan that is going to deter the united opposition from from fielding candidates for governor, for MPs and also for MCA positions in Nairobi County. And now coming to health matters in the Daily Nation newspaper, breathalyzers, speed guns to help cut festive season crashes. Kenya's transport sector is bracing for one of its busiest travel periods, with matatu operators and safety agencies warning of rising cases of reckless driving, fatigue in general discipline on major highways. Police have promised to enhance patrols' use of speed guns and breathalyzers, as setting up for mobile courts to apprehend and fine offenders on the spot. This is something that is of course going to help curb a lot of traffic in irregularities in the Kenyan roads. And of course, when it comes to motorbike drivers and other public drivers, PSV drivers, of course, is something that is going to help a lot, because a lot of things have been witnessed that can be curbed when some new stringent laws are introduced. And now moving to this Star newspaper, on the balls, it is and the exit of Ibrahim and DCJ Mwilu triggers succession debate. Two top court judges in Kenya are to retire as 2027 election looms. And of course, in the pictures, we can see Chief Justice Martha Koome, Deputy CJ Philomena Mwilu, and Justice Smokin Wanjala, Justice William Oko, Justice Njoki Ndungu, Justice Isaac Lenaola, and Justice Mohammed Ibrahim. That is on page 6 of the Star newspaper. And of course, the two court judges who are yet to retire before 2027, and as the country prepares for the 2027 general elections, that of course we know all these judges are going to partake in, Deputy CJ Philomena Mwilu and Justice Mohammed Ibrahim are the ones who are going to exit before 2027. And this is something that is stirring succession battles in the Justice Commission of the country. And as soon as in the newspaper, inside the battles facing Governor Wanga, this is in page 7. Homa Bay County Governor Gladys Wanga during campaigns of Kasipul parliamentary seat by elections. And of course, we all know that there have been a lot of court cases against Governor Wanga, and you know, a lot of things have been happening, and to even yesterday, including that yesterday Governor Wanga gave out a report, a press release, that he was sacking her deputy governor and his accomplice who is in the CAC position in the county government of Homa Bay. This is something that is a battle that is still being fought, and of course we are going to inform you later what has been happening in Homa Bay County. Elsewhere, in the matters justice, Court of Appeal to rule in March or if abortion is a human right. The Court of Appeal in Kenya will rule on March 27th next year whether abortions is a fundamental human right. The cases were filed by a group of petitioners including activist Ann Kioko, the Kenyan Christian Professional Forum, the State Law Office, and the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions. This is a story that is in page 3. And in Kakamega County, Kakamega folks reject gold mining plan. Despite the excitement around the recently announced Kenya shilling 680 billion gold discovery, residents of Isulu, Bushiangala and Musoli villages say that they are left with more questions than answers. And this is of course something that was unveiled 2 weeks ago by the Kenyan spokesperson Mwaura, urging the people of Kakamega that the government of course is going to help them in the gold mining, and that they are going, the community, the national government, and of course the county government of the area of Kakamega is going to benefit from this. But now, as you can see, the people of Kakamega County are now having doubts on it. They have more questions than the answers that they have been given. Elsewhere in the newspaper, Disquiet rebellion as Northern members of parliament accuse William Ruto of neglect of roads, and this is in page 4 and 5 of this newspaper. And elsewhere, unbelievable, Kenya produces first evidence of hyena eating honey in Kajiado. Now this is really unbelievable. The hyenas eating honey in Kajiado County. We don't know what this is, but it is in page 2 of the Star newspaper. The sweet tooth is in page 2 of the Star newspaper. And of course that brings us to the break of our first break in the morning buzz and in the our morning newspaper review. When we come back, we shall be reviewing more newspapers as we go ahead with the show. Strive everybody longs for. Human beings will spend their time online searching remedies for conditions challenging them. Some will go to medical facilities seeking medical help, while others will use herbal means to keep their health hazards. I am Chemutai Kirui, and every week on Afya Yetu, we open the doors for life-changing conversations from wellness and nutrition, preventing diseases, managing chronic illnesses, and even mental health. We bring expert advice, real-life stories, and practical solutions that touch every part of your life. Join me, Chemutai Kirui, on Dizzy TV Africa Afya Yetu Health Show every Friday from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. and be part of the change.
Je, wajua kwamba mapishi si kazi tu ila ni sanaa? Njoo tujifunze mapishi mapya katika runinga ya Ndizi TV Africa. Hapa ndipo tunapika, tunajifunza, tunakula, tunasherehekea na kucheka kidogo. Ungana nami kila siku ya Jumanne kuanzia mida ya saa 2 usiku katika kipindi chetu cha Pishi Bora. Hapa ndipo tutakuwa tunapika vyakula mbalimbali ambavyo vitakuwa vinanukia kama vile mchuzi wa nyanya, tunapika kuku kitunguu, tunapika wet fry na vyakula vingi zaidi. Njoo tujifunze pamoja na tulete ubunifu jikoni katika kipindi chetu cha Pishi Bora. Ungana nami Ronelfa katika kipindi cha Pishi Bora, tulete ubunifu jikoni.
Mteja mpendwa, ni wakati sasa wa kujinyakulia aina ya flash disk kuanzia 8GB, 16GB na vilevile 32GB. Vilevile earphones, wireless headsets, unajipatia wireless microphones tofauti kwa bei nafuu. Yale ambayo unafaa kuyafanya hivi sasa ni kwamba unapiga simu kupitia nambari 0739318606. Yote unayapata kwa bei nafuu popote ulipo.
This festive season, treat yourself at Canal Park Hotel, just 5 kilometers from Kisii town off Kisii Kilgoris Road. Enjoy luxury, comfort and a 10% discount on all accommodation services. Book now and celebrate in style. Canal Park Hotel, the pride of Kisii.
Je, wewe ni mmiliki wa aina ya gari aina ya Alto, Probox, Harrier, V8 na Lexus? Jipatie brake pads kwa bei nafuu hivi sasa. Vilevile oil filters kwa gari aina ya Toyota na vilevile Subaru. Ili upokee popote ulipo, piga simu kupitia nambari 0739318606.
Katika maisha ya kila siku, changamoto za kisheria sikosekani. Iwe ni haki zako kazini, masuala ya ndoa, mikataba mbalimbali, hata kwenye ardhi. Karibu kwenye Sheria na Jamii, kipindi kinachochambua masuala ya kisheria kwa undani zaidi. Hapa tutakuwa na wachambuzi wa sheria kwa kusaidia wewe mpenzi mtazamaji kuelewa ni kipi kile sheria ya Kenya inasema.
Ni vizuri utumie sheria ambazo zimewekwa, the laws that are in place to help you control the properties even when you are dead.
Kwa mob justice, wale ambao wanahusika katika mob justice wanaweza kuletwa mbele ya mahakama na wakafunguliwa mashtaka, either iwe ni murder, a murder charge or a manslaughter charge.
Kila siku ya Jumapili kuanzia saa 2 hadi saa 3 usiku hapa ndani ya Ndizi TV Africa, nami Jeff Nyakundi. Sheria na Jamii, tukielewa sheria tunajenga jamii yenye haki.
Mteja mpendwa, ni wakati sasa wa kujinyakulia aina ya flash disk kuanzia 8GB, 16GB na vilevile 32GB. Vilevile earphones, wireless headsets, unajipatia wireless microphones tofauti kwa bei nafuu. Yale ambayo unafaa kuyafanya hivi sasa ni kwamba unapiga simu kupitia nambari 0739318606. Yote unayapata kwa bei nafuu popote ulipo.
Every Wednesday night, join me for powerful stories and informative stories that will touch your heart and also will be informative on Ndizi TV Africa, where we will be having able and ambitious. Join us as we empower voices that need to be heard and also encourage the inclusive voices in the society, one story at a time. We educate, we inspire, we break barriers and remind the world that disability is not inability. Tune in to Ndizi TV Africa every Wednesday as from 8 p.m. as we celebrate and empower the able and ambitious in our society. Ndizi TV Africa, beyond Africa.
Welcome back to the Morning Buzz and thank you for staying with Ndizi TV Africa. Now remember that we were still on the morning newspaper review and we have seen the Standard newspaper, the Daily Nation newspaper and the Star newspaper. Now moving on, we are going to look at the People Daily newspaper, and of course this is also about politics. It is a political mistrust, especially after former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagwa's utterances in about the Nairobi elections in 2027. Now in the boss, is the election falling into Ruto's trap? Is it falling into Ruto's trap? Now, analysts believe that the outcome of last week's by-election and subsequent reaction may have exposed the president's secret 2027 project involving some from the disjointed opposition. And of course in the picture we can see the former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, Trans Nzoia County Governor George Natembeya, and Wiper Patriotic Party leader Wiper Patriotic leader. And of course this is about something that the Kenyan opposition should really come in and discuss so much, because you know just a day ago, former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua was heard saying that he should be the DCP party iachiwe the Nairobi County Governor's seat, Nairobi County Senator's seat, and Nairobi County Women Representative seat when it comes to the 2027 general elections. And this is something that, you know, the united opposition does not agree with, because they do not want that thing to be left for only one party and of course one community. They just want all these things to be distributed equally amongst all of them. And of course now moving on to our next newspaper, the Taifa Leo newspaper, it explains vividly what Gachagua said. in the balls of Taifa Leo newspaper, Gachagua ashutumiwa vikali kwa kutaka DCP na jamii moja iachiwe viti vitatu Nairobi katika uchaguzi wa mwaka wa 2027. Blanda nyingine ya Gachagua ni ubaguzi. Tamko lake kuwa uongozi wa Nairobi kuanzia kwa gavana, seneta na mwakilishi wa kike uachiwe chama chake na jamii moja wakera wengi wakiwemo wafuasi wa mrengo wa upinzani. Wandani wa Kalonzo wakana kufikiana naye kuhusu hilo, huku Jubilee ikisema kuwa mpango huo ni hatari kwa muungano wa upinzani. Hii ni katika ukurasa wa pili wa gazeti la Taifa Leo. Na of course, hili ni jambo ambalo the United Opposition lazima ingezungumzia kwanza na kuafikiana kabla ya kuleta matamshi haya hadharani mbele ya wapiga kura ama mbele ya Wakenya wote. Lakini Gachagua yeye mwenyewe aliona nikisema haya opposition itakubali, lakini opposition haijakubali na imekuja kabisa mbele kushtumu na kumkana aliyekuwa naibu wa rais Rigathi Gachagua kuhusiana na matamshi hayo, akitaka viti vitatu vikuu vya kaunti ya Nairobi ambayo ni ya gavana, women representative na seneta wa Nairobi County iachiwe DCP na jamii moja. Na kwingineko ni kwamba gavana Gladys Wanga wa kaunti ya Homa Bay amvua naibu wake madaraka. Hii ni baada ya Magwanga kumpigia debe mpinzani wa ODM kura za Kasipul. Hii ni katika ukurasa wa 4 wa gazeti la Taifa Leo. Na tulishuhudia wiki iliyopita ya kwamba, ama wiki chache zilizopita ya kwamba, Gladys Wanga ni chairperson kwa sasa, ni one of the party top officials wa ODM party, na alikuwa anapigia debe sana mwaniaji wa ODM ama ambaye kwa sasa ni mbunge wa ODM wa Kasipul, ambaye alikuwa anawania katika chama cha ODM, Boyd Were. Na kwa sasa tuliona ya kwamba, hapo awali tuliona ya kwamba naibu wake Gladys Wanga alikuwa anapigia debe mwaniaji ambaye si wa ODM, na tunashuku ya kwamba hilo ni pamoja na mambo mengine ambayo yalimkera gavana huyo Gladys Wanga, na ikafikia ya kwamba kwa sasa amemfuta kazi naibu wake Magwanga Oyugi. Na kwingineko ni kwamba onyo kwa madereva msimu huu wa sikukuu. NTSA yabuni mbinu za kupunguza ajali za barabarani msimu huu wa sherehe. Hili ni jambo ambalo tulikuwa tumeangazia katika gazeti nyingine. Na pia kwingineko ni kwamba utata, MCA watatu wakikana kutimua gavana Nyaribo. Madiwani hao sasa wanasema hawakushiriki kura ya kumng'oa gavana wao madarakani. Hii ni ukurasa wa 4 katika Taifa Leo. Na hili ni jambo ambalo ilifanyika wiki iliyopita katika kaunti ya Nyamira, ambapo madiwani wa kaunti hiyo walipiga kura kumng'atua gavana wao Nyaribo uongozini, na ni jambo ambalo seneti ya Kenya pia ilienda ikapiga kura, lakini haikufikia kiwango cha kupiga kura, lakini waliafikiana ya kwamba ni jambo ambalo bado litazungumziwa na seneti kuangalia ikiwa gavana Nyaribo atang'atuliwa uongozini ama atasalia kuwa gavana wa kaunti ya Nyamira. Lakini kwa sasa madiwani watatu wamejitokeza wakisema kuwa hawakushirikishwa kabisa katika upigaji kura wa kumng'atua ama kumtimua gavana Nyaribo uongozini. Kwingineko katika uongozi wa taifa ni kwamba Ruto sasa atategemea machifu katika ustawi wa nchi. Aliwahimiza wasaidie kuimarisha usalama na mipango ya serikali katika maeneo ya mashinani. Hii katika ukurasa wa 2 wa gazeti la Taifa Leo. Na kwenye spoti katika gazeti hilo bado ni kwamba Chelsea yatibua ujanja wa Arsenali yasitisha kasi ya The Gunners kwa kuilazimishia sare licha ya kubaki na wachezaji 10 uwanjani. Hii ni katika ukurasa wa 13 hadi ukurasa wa 20 katika gazeti la Taifa Leo. Na tukiangazia kwenye biashara za taifa, tuangalie kwenye gazeti la The Business Daily ambapo ni kwamba the employees earning above 50,000 Kenyan shillings increases to 1.5 million. You know, this is something that of course the Kenyan government and the Kenyan population should be celebrating, because a lot of Kenyans have been earning way below 50,000 Kenyan shillings, but now when it comes to an increase whereby the employees in the pay range were 43.8% of the new recruits, and the private firms is 69% of the fresh earners in the group. This means that the revenue of the country is going to increase, of course, and you know, of course, the Kenyan population, people are going to be at least in a better position to make sure that they meet their daily needs. And elsewhere in the tickers, report flags risk in leased sugar millers. The World Bank Group has the competition and the Competition Authority of Kenya, CAK, have raised fresh concerns over the leasing of 4 state-owned sugar factories. This is about the Kenyan economy and is in page 4 of the Business Daily newspaper. And stable shilling cools banks' forex fortunes. The Kenya's biggest lenders have seen a sharp fall in the income from foreign currency trading, highlighting the impact of calmer exchange rate environment. This is about companies and is in page 6 of the newspaper. And elsewhere, electrocutions hit record 122 amid increased power theft. This is about the energy supply in the country. The Kenya Power record that has hit 122 amid increased power theft. A record of 122 persons were electrocuted in the year that ended June 2025 amid increased illegal connections and encroachment on power lines, turning the spotlight of the level of public safety awareness and adherence into the law. And you know, this is something, of course, that Kenya Power should really focus on, because you know, when it comes to electrocutions, this means that it's something that is deadly, something that is very fatal. But when it comes to illegal connections, this is something that Kenya Power has been fighting so hard to eliminate and to make sure that Kenyans are connected to reliable sources of energy. And you know, this is something, of course, that with the time it is going to be eradicated. And in the intelligence sector, past elections have been plagued by allegations of ghost voters, duplicate registrations, and questions over the accuracy of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission data. This is in page 9 of the Business Daily newspaper. And of course, that is where we put to an end the morning review, the newspaper morning review in the Morning Buzz show, and we are taking a commercial break. When we come back, we have more for you, and we will be going to the morning report in the Morning Buzz. My name is Chemutai Kiri. Everybody longs for. Human beings will spend their time online searching remedies for conditions challenging them. Some will go to medical facilities seeking medical help, while others will use herbal means to keep their health hazards. I am Chemutai Kiri, and every week on Afya Yetu, we open the doors for life-changing conversations from wellness and nutrition, preventing diseases, managing chronic
chronic illnesses, and even mental health.
We bring expert advice, real-life stories, and practical solutions that touch every part of your life. Join me, Chemutai Kirui, on Ndizi TV Africa Affiliate to Health Show every Friday from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. and be part of the change.
Je, wajua kwamba mapishi si kazi tu ila ni sanaa? Njoo tujifunze mapishi mapya katika runinga ya Ndizi TV Africa. Hapa ndipo tunapika, tunajifunza, tunakula, tunasherehekea na kucheka kidogo. Ungana nami kila siku ya Jumanne kuanzia mida ya saa 2 usiku katika kipindi chetu cha Pishi Bora. Hapa ndipo tutakuwa tunapika vyakula mbalimbali ambavyo vitakuwa vinanukia kama vile mchuzi wa nyanya, tunapika kuku kitunguu, tunapika wet fry na vyakula vingi zaidi. Njoo tujifunze pamoja na tulete ubunifu jikoni katika kipindi chetu cha Pishi Bora. Ungana nami Ronelfa katika kipindi cha Pishi Bora, tulete ubunifu jikoni.
Mteja mpendwa, ni wakati sasa wa kujinyakulia aina ya flash disk kuanzia 8GB, 16GB na vilevile 32GB. Vilevile earphones, wireless headsets, unajipatia wireless microphones tofauti kwa bei nafuu. Yale ambayo unafaa kuyafanya hivi sasa ni kwamba unapiga simu kupitia nambari 0739318606. Yote unayapata kwa bei nafuu popote ulipo.
This festive season, treat yourself at Canal Park Hotel, just 5 kilometers from Kisii town off Kisii Kilgoris Road. Enjoy luxury, comfort and a 10% discount on all accommodation services. Book now and celebrate in style. Canal Park Hotel, the pride of Kisii.
Je, wewe ni mmiliki wa aina ya gari aina ya Alto, Probox, Harrier, V8 na Lexus? Jipatie brake pads kwa bei nafuu hivi sasa. Vilevile oil filters kwa gari aina ya Toyota na vilevile Subaru. Ili upokee popote ulipo, piga simu kupitia nambari 0739318606.
Katika maisha ya kila siku, changamoto za kisheria sikosekani. Iwe ni haki zako kazini, masuala ya ndoa, mikataba mbalimbali hata kwenye ardhi. Karibu kwenye Sheria na Jamii, kipindi kinachochambua masuala ya kisheria kwa undani zaidi. Hapa tutakuwa na wachambuzi wa sheria wa kusaidia wewe mpenzi mtazamaji kuelewa ni kipi kile sheria ya Kenya inasema.
Ni vizuri utumie sheria ambazo zimewekwa, the laws that are in place to help you control the properties even when you are dead.
Kwa mob justice, wale ambao wanahusika katika mob justice wanaweza kuletwa mbele ya mahakama na wakafunguliwa mashtaka, either iwe ni a murder charge or a manslaughter charge.
Kila siku ya Jumapili kuanzia saa 2 hadi saa 3 usiku hapa ndani ya Ndizi TV Africa, nami Jeff Nyakundi. Sheria na Jamii, tukielewa sheria tunajenga jamii yenye haki.
Mteja mpendwa, ni wakati sasa wa kujinyakulia aina ya flash disk kuanzia 8GB, 16GB na vilevile 32GB. Vilevile earphones, wireless headsets, unajipatia wireless microphones tofauti kwa bei nafuu. Yale ambayo unafaa kuyafanya hivi sasa ni kwamba unapiga simu kupitia nambari 0739318606. Yote unayapata kwa bei nafuu popote ulipo.
Every Wednesday night, join me for powerful stories and informative stories that will touch your heart and also will be informative on Ndizi TV Africa, where we will be having able and ambitious. Join us as we empower voices that need to be heard and also encourage the inclusive voices in the society, one story at a time. We educate, we inspire, we break barriers and remind the world that disability is not inability. Tune in to Ndizi TV Africa every Wednesday as from 8 p.m. as we celebrate and empower the able and ambitious in our society. Ndizi TV Africa, beyond Africa.
Welcome back to the morning buzz, and of course welcome back to our second segment of the show, the morning report. And this is where we're going to look at what is making headlines in the nation in Kenya. And now straight to our first story. The government has announced increased efforts to combat new HIV infections in the country as Kenya joins other nations in commemorating World AIDS Day. The Health Ministry Secretary Mary Muthoni stated that the nation has made progress by reducing new infections by 72% over the past 20 years. She also said that the government strategies have contributed to lowering deaths caused by AIDS and reducing mother-to-child transmission of the HIV virus.
the new incidence of infection still among the youth. So the things that have been brought on board include HIV testing and counseling. We are giving information, sensitization among the youth has been increased with support from both the government and the partners, basically HF Kenya. We are giving PrEP, and I'm glad to inform the public that we have new PrEP that's going to be introduced injectable from next year. And being that we have new patients among the youth, we're really encouraging them from the sensitization to come for injectable PrEP. And of course, the number one patient remains use of condom and correct and consistent use of condom, which are also available at our facilities.
Pia mambo ya triple threat. Triple threat ni ile maneno ninaita HIV infection, teenage pregnancies na gender-based violence. Unajua gender-based violence inakuja na rape, inakuja na mambo mingi. And when the children are at home, there are risks sometimes, especially when we are not able to observe them every now and then. Aswa sisi wenye tunaenda kazi kila siku. Sasa lazima tukuje hapa kanisani tuwaombee pia kwa sababu ya the risks that are.
And elsewhere, the Migori County government has joined the global community in observing World AIDS Day. County Executive Member for Health Caleb Opondi shared updated HIV statistics and outlined renewed efforts to strengthen the county's response amid declining international support. Speaking in Masara in Migori County, Opondi highlighted the high number of people living with HIV, ongoing challenges with new infections and AIDS-related deaths, the county's initiatives to expand partnerships and sustain life-saving treatments. The health institutions, including life care hospitals, also reaffirmed their commitment to supporting the fight against HIV and AIDS. Our very own Lennox Odede tells us more in his report.
Migori County Executive Member for Health Caleb Opondi has led Migori residents in joining the world in commemorating World AIDS Day, marked under the theme Overcoming Disruption and Transforming the AIDS Response. Speaking in Masara, Suna West Sub-County, Opondi reported that Migori County currently has 99,510 people living with HIV. The county records about 1,572 new infections annually, while AIDS-related deaths stands at 1,041 per year. He added that 77,114 people are currently on life-saving treatment.
Currently, 99,510 people are infected with HIV, and annual infection in Migori County stands at 1,572, with the annual death of AIDS-related cases being 1,041. And those ones who are on life-saving drugs and are HIV positive are 77,114.
These commemorations come at a time when the United States of America has withdrawn some of the health supports previously offered to African countries. As a result, Migori County has begun integrating its services by mapping all individuals on life-saving drugs and seeking additional partners to strengthen the fight against HIV and AIDS.
The people who are being given the drugs, now we have mapped them in most of our facilities, where they will continue getting the life-saving drugs free of charge without paying. And at the same time, we are still looking even for more partners to take up the dream sites, which were being supported by some of the partners from the US government, so that they are taken up and our girls who are in the dream sites may continue benefiting from the services which they were previously getting. So we have our program officers and all the programs which were taken up by the donors who have withdrawn their support. The programs have been integrated.
Dr. Jakait of Life Care Hospitals in Migori assured residents of the hospital's commitment to collaborate with the county government of Migori in combating HIV and AIDS by continuing to support life-saving drugs at no cost.
As a life care facility, we have set aside these for actually all chronic diseases, but for the HIV, we are receiving those drugs from headquarters through partners that are partnering with us, and we are going to give. We are already giving out, especially PEPs and PrEPs. We are giving out free of charge in Life Care.
Caleb Opondi further assured Migori County residents that the county government has put in place several strategies, including ongoing sensitization efforts aimed at ending HIV and AIDS.
We have put so many strategies so that these new infections, together with the teenage pregnancies and SGBV, can be reduced in Migori County. We are working with partners. We are working with the national government agencies. We are also working with other stakeholders in the education sector, so that we do advocacy. We do a lot of advocacy. We do a lot of sensitization. We do even civic education, informing people about the dangers of HIV infections.
Lennox Odede reporting for Ndizi TV Africa from Migori County.
And now Kisii County, in conjunction with Jiagan University in China, has come to an agreement to offer higher education opportunities to top performing students from the county. The deal was signed by Kisii County education officials and a delegation from the Jiagan University, witnessed by China's ambassador to Kenya, Guo Haiyan, and Kisii County Governor Simba Arati. This agreement follows the success of 10 students from Kisii who previously secured scholarships to study at Wuhan Technical College in China, with the aim of recognizing and supporting academic excellence among the Kisii students and enable them to pursue further studies at the university.
A key pillar of our cooperation, as our President Xi Jinping said, emphasized that a nation prospers when its education prospers.
This center will help identify and support the best students who qualify to study at Shenyang University in China. This opportunity will open doors to world-class education and help raise the standard of learning in Kisii County. Together, we will promote cultural exchange and academic support to broaden students' knowledge and experiences.
And now the head of the civil service, Felix Koskei, has called on the government employees to uphold ethical standards at all times in order to close gaps that enable corruption in public offices. He added that the government will keep offering training to enhance service delivery across all the departments in the government offices.
This academy marks a new chapter in strengthening our national integrity systems. As we launch it today, I challenge the leadership and the trainers to ensure that every officer who passes through these gates lives better, more disciplined, more ethical, and more committed to protecting public resources. That is how we honor the trusted place in us, the trust placed in us by His Excellency the President and by the public.
Thank you very much.
And now on matters transport, for those planning to travel upcountry this festive season, expect stricter enforcement of traffic regulations as the government steps up efforts to reduce road accidents during Christmas and the New Year. The new measures include a toll-free number for the public to report corrupt traffic officers by submitting videos and location details. Kenyans should also anticipate alcohol checks along the major highways, including the Nairobi to Mombasa and the Nairobi to Malaba routes, as well as the return of mobile courts. These measures were agreed upon after NTSA, the police and transport stakeholders met in Nairobi to strengthen road safety in the country.
And any member of the public who happen to see an officer engaging himself in a corrupt practice, even if he's a passenger seated and the vehicle is stopped, then he can peep in and see that road sign. And then he do what? Then he called the relevant number, toll-free numbers. And even now I've been receiving videos of officers receiving bribes along the public roads. I can even show you one here if you want. Honest members of the public have been sending me those videos, and we normally take what? We normally take action. And I would like members of the public to complain where they have reported and action has not been taken. I welcome that.
This was therefore to agree together that we do not want any Kenyan to lose their lives during this festive season, and therefore we recommit to do, each stakeholder to do their responsibilities, so that then for speed limiters, they have to ensure that speed limiters that are fitted in all vehicles provided for in law actually limit speed.
And still on matters transport, the High Court has given the parties involved in a petition more time to challenge directive by EPRA and the Nairobi County government that bans picking up and dropping off passengers at petrol stations within the CBD. In his ruling, Justice Mwita allowed the parties additional time to continue their discussions. He also ordered that the current situation remain unchanged, meaning that the petitioners may still continue operating from the petrol stations as previously permitted. The court directed that these orders stay in effect for the duration of their operations until further instructions are issued. The case will be mentioned again on January 26, 2026 before Justice Lawrence Mugambi for further directions.
We have been patient in court. Today the judge has ordered no interruptions. The matatus will continue carrying passengers from where they have been operating for the last 30 years. These festivities, we are addressing the whole country that there will be no transport crisis. The owners of the matatu will do what they have been licensed to do. They will operate from where they have been operating nationally.
It is now 12 minutes past 8 a.m. and the morning buzz, the morning report is taking a commercial break. When we come back, we have more for you, including in the counties and of course in Migori County, whereby widows of Siaya County gathered at Sega Township Primary School to mark the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, and of course in the event organized by Free Pentecostal Fellowship of Kenya, FPFK. This and more in the morning report after the break. My name is Chemutai Kirui and my director this morning is Lucas Ouma.
Every Wednesday night, join me for powerful stories and informative stories that will touch your heart and also will be informative on Ndizi TV Africa, where we will be having able and ambitious. Join us as we empower voices that need to be heard and also encourage the inclusive voices in the society, one story at a time. We educate, we inspire, we break barriers and remind the world that disability is not inability. Tune in to Ndizi TV Africa every Wednesday as from 8 p.m. as we celebrate and empower the able and ambitious in our society. Ndizi TV Africa, beyond Africa.
Welcome back to the morning report and thank you for staying with Ndizi TV Africa. My name is Chemutai Kirui. Now moving on, widows in Siaya County gathered at Sega Township Primary School to mark the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. The event, organized by the Free Pentecostal Fellowship in Kenya, FPFK, featured public forums to raise awareness on gender-based violence, especially against widows. The FPFK Programs Officer Dorothy Muga said the goal is to educate widows on their legal protection and to remind them of the pending Social Protection Bill awaiting Governor James Orengo's assent in Siaya County.
Tumekuwa na siku njema, siku yetu imekuwa ya furaha sana kulingana na mpango ambao ilikuwa ya kutetea wajane. Wajane wanapitia mambo mengi, tena saa zingine wanafukuzwa, wanapigwa. Inaonekana tu kwa familia kwamba hawana haki. Jamii hawafurahii sana.
Sasa mimi nashukuru Mungu. Alafu tulikuwa na bill tulipeleka ya widows pale Siaya. Ni uzuri awalipitisha. But sasa kitu tunangoja the governor James Orengo aweke tu sign. Ni sign tu. Cause kila kitu kiliendelea vizuri. Akishaweka sign, sasa tutakuwa tunaishi bila uoga.
When the resources are limited like they are, people are fighting over resources. The women and children are the ones who are most affected.
Former Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i has condemned the disruption of a church service attended by former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua in Kariobangi on Sunday. He said that a country that claims to respect the rule of law must act firmly against such incidents. Speaking during a church service at St. Peter's Cathedral in Kenol, Matiang'i announced that he will run for presidency in 2027, vowing to restore order and fix what he described as a nation that has gone off track. The earlier church service was interrupted after rival groups clashed outside, prompting police to fire tear gas and to disperse the crowd.
We fought for independence. We are an independent country with our constitution. How will you go to a church? We rather than you au unaingia kanisa namna gani na polisi kupiga watu tia kwa kanisa? Hata yule ambaye anatoroka, tafadhali mwambie arudi haraka atoke ngoki, sababu sisi how can we live like that as a country? Bishop kama hawa wazee wanatuongoza hapa, watu wa Mungu wamewekea mikono, wanatuzungumzia eti kuingia hapa kuwapiga tia kanisa. What is happening kasumba ile ya kuzoea mpaka umelewa na uongozi na nguvu. They are trying to be power.
And elsewhere, the Private Real Estate Developers Association has urged the government to involve private builders in the development of affordable housing and hostel projects in universities across the country. According to stakeholders, such construction would benefit students and also offer opportunities for ownership of some units. They further stated that this partnership could help reduce poverty by increasing access to affordable housing for Kenyans. These remarks were made during the launch of modern student housing at the Usiu area in Nairobi County.
Serikali yenyewe haiwezi jengea kila mtu. Hiyo ni kitu haiwezekani. Sababu ukiangalia kama in the next by 2050 50% ya Wakenya watakuwa naishi hapa jijini na kwa jiji zingine kama Mombasa, Kisumu. So as it happens mpaka tuwe tayari kuweza kupatia watu manyumba. Sababu ukiangalia population ya Nairobi ya 5 million, that means in short you need at least 2 million houses. So by the end of the day we have to support the government and we have to work together to make sure it happens.
And now wrapping up, Uriri constituency parliamentary hopeful and Migori County businessman CPA Evans Ouma Ogutu has vowed to revitalize the sports sector in the area by expanding opportunities for young people and addressing the growing challenges of drug abuse and crime. Speaking during the finals of the CPA Evans Ogutu mega tournament in Sibouche, he reiterated his commitment to working with both the national and the county governments to improve sports facilities and to nurture emerging talents in the county.
Uriri constituency aspirant in the next general election, CPA Evans Ouma Ogutu, who is also a businessman from Migori, has vowed to improve sporting activities in the constituency and ensure that young people do not engage in drug abuse and crime. Speaking in Sibuoche during the finals of the CPA Evans Ogutu mega tournament organized by his office, Evans Ogutu said that his office will work closely with both the national and county governments to improve sporting infrastructure in the constituency.
We are focusing on 3 major issues. Number 1, we want to nurture talent and ensure our young people don't get into drug addiction or any other criminal activity. Number 2, we want to improve the infrastructure of this region so that we can have opportunity where we can have great benefits to play football. We don't just want to play and injure ourselves and there is no source of income for it.
Also in attendance was the Principal Secretary for Youth Affairs and the Creative Economy, Fikirini Jacobs, who reaffirmed the government's commitment to strengthening Kenya's sporting landscape, noting that the government is constructing more stadiums at both national and county levels.
For far too long, it has just been an issue of athletes. But right now, I think with the conclusion of CHAN, and with the heavy preparations of AFCON, remember we have the Talanta, stadium, which is above 90% complete, and we expect to be handed over to the government very soon, and a lot more construction happening. We have the sports academies across many constituencies. At a county level here, we have a stadium which is under construction. We hope and pray that the construction of this stadium here in Migori will go a long way into enhancing the talent and creativity of these young people.
He also pointed out that the government is identifying and nurturing talents even at the grassroots to ensure the county develops the best athletes.
There has been this challenge where our national teams, to begin with, have been accused of a lot of nepotism and stuff. I think a lot of conversations between the ministry and FKF have been to the extent that we get an opportunity to canvass, the entire country, so that we pick the best talents of that, out of that. And I think our national coach has pronounced himself many times on this, that he has tried to go at least to these local leagues to ensure that we pick some of the best talents.
He encouraged young people to continue strengthening their talents, emphasizing that the government is creating a conducive environment that will ensure sportsmen and women earn a decent living from their skills.
The young people of Migori must also be able to join the rest of the country to cut a niche for themselves as sporting young men. I have seen a lot of talent, dedication, discipline and creativity here. The long run, I think with the kind of trajectory that we are following as a ministry and as a government, you can clearly see that talent exemplary pays nowadays, and we hope these young guys will join the long list of the future beneficiaries of talent in sports.
Lennox Odede reporting for Ndizi TV Africa from Migori County.
And that sports report from Lennox Odede in Migori County brings us to the end of the morning report. And to our viewers, thank you for joining us and of course for staying informed and at Ndizi TV Africa. Also make sure to follow us on all our platforms for updates and breaking stories. From all of us here at Ndizi TV Africa, we wish you a blessed day and of course a happy festive season. My name is Chemutai Kire and my director has been Lucas Oma. Stay safe for the rest of the day and I'll see you again at the 9 p.m. news bulletin at 9 p.m. My name is Chemutai Kire. Have a good day.